Yeah, hello there and welcome back, and let us continue with our lesson. And in this lesson, let us go and see how we can create a counter app and how we can set a state or update this state on the Flutter as well as the SwiftUI and the Jetpack Compose. So let's go and create our counter app over here. So let's go to the screen and let's add a new folder, and I'll just say a counter over here. And with this counter, let me add a new file, and let's call this one as a counter screen.the file, or you can just give it any name. So I'll just create a stateful widget because we need to set a state over here to update our UI whenever we click on the button. So here we'll just give it as a counter scr screen, and let's import our material package over here, and let's set this one as the const value. And what we need is we will need a one variable of the int, and let's say this one is of the counter, and the default value we'll just give it as a 1 or 0 over here. And over here what we'll do is I'll add a scaffold, and scaffold, let's add the app bar, and let's have the app bar over here, and then we will have a body too. So in the body, let's add the center widget over here, and we will have a child, and let's add the column so we can have a vertically add all of our widget over here. So first of all, let's add the text over here, or let's add the size box over here. Sorry, I forgot to add the children over here, and then we will add a size box, and we'll give a height of, let's give a height of the 8 over here. And once we have that, let's set this to the const, and over here we'll have another one which is of the text over here, and then text, let's have the string interpolation of, I'll just say it as a counter. And with this we are getting the value of the counter for this one, and I will just say current current value, and then we'll just say as a counter. And after that we will add a button, so let me add a space between that particular button, so it will be of the elevated button. And then with this elevated button, let's add all of our, let us add the text for this one. So I'll just say it as a const of the text, and let's call this one increment, increment, or I guess the spelling is not correct, pretty bad spelling over here. And over there, let's go and add our on pressed, and we'll just set our value over here. So once we click on this button, we want to update our value of the counter, so we'll just say counter plus plus, that should increase our value by 1, and that should rebuild our widget, and we should get updated value. And then similarly, let's copy this one from here. So let me just copy, and I need to have one more button to decrement it. So let me, I guess let's give a little bit of the spacing over here, so we can see it clearly over here. And this one, let's say this is of the decrement, and here what we need to do is we need to go a negative value. And once we have this this simple, what we are doing is we are already setting the value. I guess that should be fine. Let's go over here and let's replace this one with our counter screen over here, and let's try to run the application from here. And once the application is running, you can just go and click on this button. We should see the incremented value over here, and once we click on this, it should increment the value for us. So that's great, right? So we have a simple counter app in the Flutter LED, and with this we learn how we can have a state on our Flutter. You can update this state using this set state over here. So let's move on to our SwiftUI project where we will create our counter app over there too. And once you are in the SwiftUI project, let's go and add a new group over here, and let's call this one as a counter over here. And with this, let's add a new file over here, and let's create a SwiftUI view over here, and we'll call this one as a COUN counter app view or counter view something. So let's give it as a counter view for now. And once we have this, we will have a text first of all, right? So here with this text, what we will say is we need to get a current value first of all. Let's say current value, and then we need to get our value. So other than that, what we'll do is we have a button already, so let's grab this button from here and let's go and okay, so what we need is a stack over here. So v stack, right? So that should put all of our item in the vertical order, and then I'll just grab this one and paste it over here. And for this one, we'll just copy this one and paste it below over here again. And this one will be to increment. I guess it's the increment, and then we have the decrement, right? So then once we have that, let's try to rebuild our preview over here. And let's see how it look like first of all. And once it is built, you can see it's look fine. So what we will do over here is let's go and add a state. So I'll just go and create a new state variable over here, and the state of the var and counter, and this type is of the int, and let's have a default value of the 0. And we will set that particular value over here, and we will add that counter over here. And once we add that counter, it should show a 0 over here, and then on the button click we want to increment that particular value. So what I will do is the counter that we currently have is plus equals to the 1, and that should increment our counter. And then let's go back to this particular button over here, and counter, it should be a negative value over here, right? So once we have that, let's go and arrange this one properly. And once we are done, let's go and try to run it. So you can see we have incremented our value over here, and we can decrement our value using our next button. So what we have is one state variable that stores the state of our counter. That's quite similar that what we have done in the Flutter. And then we have a counter to increment and decrement a counter over here on the button click. So we have a simple state over here, and let's continue with our Jetpack Compose. And let me open my Jetpack Compose project over here. And once we open up our Jetpack Compose project over here, let's go and let's add a new package over here. Let's call this one as a counter, COUNTR counter. And let's add a new file over here. Let's add a Kotlin file, and let's call this one as a counter, a view, a counter app, or whatever you want over here. So let's add a counter, and let's add a function, composable function, and let's create a function name over here. Let's give it as a counter app or something. So what we will do over here is with this, let's add a column over here, because that is what we need. We need to place all of our item over here. First is let's add the text over here, and this text we will create a value of our let's add the current value, right? So once we have that, And the next is we need to add a button. So I guess we already have some of the button. So let's go over here and let's grab the button that we currently have. So let's grab this button from here, and let's go to our counter and let's add that particular button here. And we don't need that one. Let's remove that one over here, and this one we will add it over here. I guess let's arrange it properly, right? So once we have that, this we will say increment, increment, and then we will have another one which is of the decrement. So I guess the spelling is always not correct for me, so that's my, so let's say this is DCR decrement. That would be correct, right? And then once we have that, we have this two button, and then we have one text, and we have a column. So what we will do over here is let's try to arrange, or let's try to add the state over here. So what we'll do is we'll create a variable of the counter, and that should of equals remember, right? And let's have the rem be a remember, and the type that we will be using, let's remove this one from here. And what I will do over here is say mutable mutable state of, and then I'll just say value of the 0 over here. And this is currently okay, counter we have. And then what we'll do is for this counter we want to reuse that counter value over here. So let's add that over here as a counter, and in the click of that button we want to increment over here, right? Counter plus plus, and then we have the counter over here, and we want to go a negative value for this one. And it looks like there is some error. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to actually get the value over here. This is a mutable state, so we need to get a value over here. So counter dot the value will give us the integer value over here, and here similarly we need to get a value over here. So once we are done with that one, let's go to our main activity, and here let's add that one as the our counter app that we have over here, and let's try to run it on our device over here. And once the application is running, you can just go and click on increment and then decrement the value, right? So that's working perfectly fine. So now in our counter app we have a one state that holds the counter state for us, so which is a mutable state of, and here we can manipulate the state of our value on our button click, which is to increment and to decrement over here. And what you can also do is you can also add the modifier this one, and let's add the modifier for this one, and modifier over here. Let's add the compose UI, and then I'll just say fill max size for this one. And also you have the option for the vertical and the let's say this one as a vertical. So let's grab this one, and with this vertical, let's is equals to this one each of the arrangement, right? So arrangement dot, let's say it's of the center, and we also have the horizontal alignment, and that should be of the alignment center horizontally. Let's try to rebuild it, and then you can see it's centered to our particular screen, and it should work as expected, right? So that's all, and in this lesson we learn about the how we can set a simple state on the Jetpack compose over here, right, using remember over here, and then we use the SwiftUI to have a state over here, as well as with our Flutter project over here. We created a simple counter app on the Flutter, SwiftUI, as well as the Jetpack compose. So that's all for this lesson. Let's meet up in the next one. Till then, have a great day.